Hello YouTube, this is Kintech, and I am back with another tutorial on Massive, and the last one I did was on Knife Party's Whoop sound, and if you want to know what the hell that is, you can find it on this video. Just look in the top left, I'll leave a link, and let's get started with this one. This video, we're going to talk about blip sounds, house blips, how it's, or plucks, if as some people may call them. The sound is used in a lot of house music. If you listen to dubstep, or I mean, if you've listened to Deadmau5, you've definitely heard this sound. Let's go ahead and just hear what it sounds like. Alright. And that's the sound that everyone's familiar with. So this synth is kind of complicated. It's got a lot of mod wheels on it and stuff. So let's get started, shall we? Let's turn that down. Okay, so you're going to start on oscillator 1, as always, with a square saw and the bend plus, not spectrum, because I think that's what, yeah, that's the default. So bend plus, you want to bring this guy an octave down, and bring up the wavetable position and the intensity all the way up. Bring the amp all the way down. You're going to put this, one of these performers, make it a performer, and put it on the amp of oscillator 1. And I'll show you what to do here in a second. Now with oscillator 2, you could have done everything I did in oscillator 3. I've just been working on the synth for a while, so I've been turning things on and off. Make sure this guy can be anywhere, but for this sound, I don't know, I put him here. It might actually work better with it more in the middle. It's just sending it to filter 1, but if you want to send it to both of them, you can do this. Now on the other oscillator, I also use a square saw wave, and I just left it on spectrum. Wavetable position and intensity are all the way up. Intensity is not all the way up, actually, it's at like 4 o'clock. And amp is at 9 o'clock with the same performer, the performer that we use on the other amp, we're going to put on the second amp as well, and make that actually go all the way up. So, I mean, you can see, you just get close to where I'm at on both those. Now, with the modulation oscillator, I just had a phaser, and actually it's not even being used. Look at that. Because it's modulating oscillator 2, so yeah, just don't even worry about that. Noise, I put an aluminum thing on there, but that's just for character, so I left it off to show you guys what the synth is all about. Insert 1, sine shaper, it's right here. Dry wet is at 8 or 9, and the drive is all the way up. And you got a parabolic shaper, on insert 2, and dry wet is at 9, the drive is at 2 o'clock. Let's go to the filters. Filter 1, you got a low pass 4. The cutoff, yeah, is set to about 12 o'clock, about noon. And we'll put these modulators on in a sec. Or you can just do it without telling me. Just take the second one and jam it in the cutoff. Bring it up to about 3, and on the second filter, you have the same low pass right there. Cutoff is a little bit lower. It starts a little bit lower on this one. You take that modulator, or mod wheel, or whatever, you put it on that guy, and turn them all the way up. Oh, and I almost forgot. On filter 1, you want the resonance up higher than most synths. You want it about 1 o'clock. And before we get into all this crazy shit, let's look at the effects. Effects 1, you're going to have reverb. And this reverb is actually being affected by this that you see right here. So yeah, that's going on. And on the delay, this is a sync delay with the dry wet almost all the way down with this mod wheel on the dry wet. And the dry wet brings it up to about 1 o'clock. You want the damp all the way up, you want the feedback just barely past 9 o'clock with the 8 mod wheel on there. Finally, the EQ, the low shelf is brought down a little bit. The boost is all the way down with this performer, this guy, adjusting the boost, and he is also adjusting the high shelf. Frequency is brought up to 3 o'clock. Okay, so I don't think I missed anything. We can move on to this stiff. Okay, monophone. I put the pitch cutoff on, and that's the routing. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is the only shit we got going on. And what I have happening here is basically this fader adjusts this. It's number 7. These are the yellow guys, and these are the green guys. So don't get confused with my mod wheel here, number 7, and the green 7 that represents the performer. So basically, this is modulating the things I put it on. So when I'm playing this out, depending on the rate that this is at, I'll change the rate so you can see. So it'll slow down, and it's restarting every time the note restarts. And if it gets quick enough, it'll go to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it'll repeat because I've shortened it. Originally the default is like all the way out here, but I decided to shorten it, and the effect that you get is actually pretty cool. When you speed it up enough, you'll hear the, let me speed this up a little bit. There you go. So you're getting the note twice in the 8th note that I have playing. So, I mean, these are off beat, but they are, as long as an 8th note. So if you do it that way, if you set it up that way with the rate and all this stuff going on, you'll have a good time. And so that's what I did there. And let's look at, you put these guys on, and we killed oscillator 1, where we put the mod on to do that. This guy, it adjusts the rate. So this is a pretty important one. In the middle is where you'll get that kind of cutoff. If you have it all the way down, you'll have a longer note. You can also have a longer note if you bring the 7th knob all the way up, because it'll change the fader to go down here, where all of these guys are fully 100%. And this whole thing is affecting the boost, the high shelf, the amps, so it's basically cutting everything off like quickly for little blips, or as I said before, many people call them plucks. So that's what we got. This is a little tricky. You're gonna want to kind of use your ear for this, and make sure you don't have it on sync. You want it on a restart, no sync. You bring up the rate to about there. I don't know how I'm gonna make this easier, but let's see. Have it pointing. Have this guy pointing to like this corner, and put this on just enough so that you'll start like bring this all the way up, click it onto the rate, and then adjust it so that when your notes are playing, you'll hear that. I think you know what I'm talking about. Hold on, hold on. I fucked it up a little bit. There we go. So there you have it. This is the synth, and yeah, so that's the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be coming out with more tutorials, and yeah, I hope to be more consistent with these. Also, one more thing. If you have an EQ, clearly you see that I'm working in Logic, but you can do this anywhere. I would just use these settings if you're gonna EQ this thing, because if you don't EQ it, just EQ it. Take my advice, but here's what it sounds like without that. And if you bring up the cutoff on this, it's very harsh. It is harsh on the ears. So you turn it on, and it sounds good. It sounds like an analog synth. It doesn't sound so digital if you have that EQ on there. I mean, I already EQ most of my things anyways. Using the equalizer when you're making a synth will actually help you a lot. So try to do that. That's it. And I'm really happy that you guys watched this video, and I would be even happier if you commented and let me know if you liked it and if it helped you out. And if you want more help, let me know, and I'll try to make whatever you ask for, or I'll find it and I'll send you a link or something. Ratings are appreciated, and by all means, subscribe. I'd be happy to shell out more videos for you guys, and if you do subscribe, you'll be able to catch them. So that's about it. Hope to see you soon on YouTube's.